Hello everyone and welcome to Monday. I don't feel well. I feel quite under the weather. I know I had said that yesterday, but it's been pretty bad. I've blown my nose a million times today. I'm getting some dark mucus out of it. I think it's fair to say that I have a sinus infection, which is unfortunate, but I'm taking Mucinex, drinking lots of water, and I'm going to hope that it'll clear up in a few days and I won't feel the need to get an antibiotic from the doctor. That's the hope. I've actually had lots of sinus infections in my life. I don't know why, but I've had lots of them. So I have some experience dealing with this. It's unfortunate, but life moves on. Yesterday I said that I'd be talking about PAX, and that's a lie, because I forgot that today was actually the Apple Watch event. If you're not familiar, Apple has been working on developing a watch, a wearable for your wrist called the Apple Watch. And today was their
keynote.
Their keynote, their invite-only keynote, where they invite, Al Gore and some of their friends to watch them talk about this thing on stage, and then they send it out to lots of other people. Chaz and I watched it earlier when it debuted at 1 p.m. Eastern, live from Cupertino, and it was fun. It was fun. And actually, something really, really cool that they're doing for the first time ever. On Apple's website, where you can, watch the thing, they were live. It wasn't tweeting. It was just
live
updates. Blog post type things, little bit bite-sized things. It's really great for this, for video blogging later, because I don't have to remember every little thing that happened. There's little bite-sized tidbits, and I can scroll through the ones that are important and tell you what I thought of them. So when the thing started, and Mal didn't see this, by the way, but Mal's read information about it on the internet, and some of it you'll learn now. Okay. When it started, they were like, "Hey, we have 21 retail stores in China." They're really pushing the China thing. So they were like, "Hey, there's a lot of retail stores in China. There's 453 Apple retail stores, period." That's a lot. Also, it doesn't hurt to talk, but my voice may get scratchy, which might be fun for some of you because I may turn into I don't know, 14-year-old Steven and squeak a little bit. It might be fun. I don't care about HBO in any capacity, but HBO CEO guy came out and was like, "Hey, we're exclusive to Apple for a while. They're coming out with HBO now. It's $15 a month. The first month is free, and you can watch Game of Thrones and crap," which is cool, probably, because a lot of people like that. We don't watch Game of Thrones, and we don't watch really anything on HBO, but, people like their stuff, so. The other thing is the Apple TV, which we don't have. I was kind of hoping that they would make a new one. They'd be like, "Hey, here's the new one," and it fries eggs or something, but it doesn't. Instead, they lowered the price of the current one to $69. I still think they're going to come out with a new one at some point. Apple TV is an awesome device. My parents have one. Really, really cool. I'm sure they lowered the price to compete more with Roku and Chromecast and things like that. But it would still be worth the Apple TV got lowered to $69, which is still twice as much as a Chromecast, and I'd rather have an Apple TV than a Chromecast. They're very similar products, but they're not the same product. And I know for my parents, they could have never figured out a Chromecast, and we had bought one for them, and halfway through it, I was like, they're not going to be able to do this. But the Apple TV is more familiar because it has a remote, and it's good. It's a good product. There's some quotes in here, some bull crap. They're doing iPhone grew a lot. There's been 700 million iPhones. Apple Pay has changed everything forever. They're still talking about Apple Pay, CarPlay, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Research kit. This thing is cool. Basically, they talk about how one of the important aspects of having an iPhone is health. And they had included a health app in iOS 8.
Yeah.
And it's mostly for other peripherals that can work within the app and give you information, which is neat. The cool thing about it is that they were talking about how a lot of times, medical researchers have issues gathering the necessary data because they don't see their patients very often, or their patients don't record the information very often. They said, phones just in general can change that. They say iPhone, but phones just in general can change that because phones are something we have with us every day and we can record stuff onto them. So they're more likely to get the research and the data they need to actually make changes in the world. And they didn't directly link this to the watch because they don't talk about the watch until later. But that's a good point of the watch, is that if you had some sort of disease or whatever, and that the watch could keep track of, then that could do it by itself in the background and send the data to the medical researchers or whatever who can make change in the world. I don't know. It was something that they hit on for a few minutes, and I actually thought was really, really cool. They had like medical researchers in a video and stuff talk about it, and they said, now we can have Parkinson's patients record their symptoms, and like there was a thing where you could put the phone in your pocket and you could just walk, and it would show like how well your what do they call it, gait?
Yeah.
Your gait was. So it was all just neat stuff. Because like anything, I mean, you think of a phone as kind of like an entertainment device, use it to call people or browse the web or whatever.
Play games or...
Yeah, but to think of phones and this technology actually making a difference in the world to speed up medical research, like that's legitimately cool. And it doesn't matter if you're an iPhone fan or an Android fan, like Samsung is, I think, developing a device for the wrist as well. So like all of this stuff is making life better, and that's cool. Anyway, then they got to the MacBook, which I actually found a little more exciting than the watch. Spoilers. They are updating their MacBook line. Really, honestly, what this is, they made a new MacBook, and they're calling it the MacBook, but it's really the MacBook Air, which means that the MacBook Air is dead, because it's thinner than the MacBook Air. I don't remember exactly. I think it's like 13 millimeters. Let's see. It's in silver. It is space gray. It is in gold. I know it says it's 2 pounds, so it's the lightest MacBook ever. Yeah, okay, here it is. It's 13 millimeters thick, which is crazy. The MacBook Air is 17 millimeters, so it's thinner than the MacBook Air. So really, this is just the new MacBook Air. But they're rebranding it because they don't want MacBook Air and MacBook Pro. They just want to simplify it. They're still selling the MacBook Air. I don't know if they're going to do that forever, but they have them right now. But the new, I'm sorry, this sounds gross, but I'm sick. The new MacBook is only 13 inches. They also redid the keyboard, which is really cool. Like the mechanism for the keys normally is in the middle of the key. So like if you hit it on the corner, it's not the same as if you hit it in the middle. And like they completely redesigned the key mechanisms, so no matter where you hit it on the keyboard, it is the same as if you hit it in the middle. It's just really neat. I would love to type on it and see what it's like. It also allows them to make the keys thinner, which is kind of cool. Right now, this is something that's only available on the MacBook. I'd love to see them bring it to a standalone keyboard so we could use them for the desktop computers.
They will.
They will.
Because they're iMac line and such.
Yeah, like I'm sure it's going to take them a little time, but that's going to happen at some point. They also have LEDs under every single key instead of like just the entire underside in general, which is cool. It's got a Retina display. It's, like I said, it's a MacBook Air. It's a MacBook. It's just not called that anymore. Another cool thing, the new trackpad is Force Touch, so it actually can detect how hard you press the trackpad. I
really want to click this.
Well, it's actually really, it's neat, but I'm also worried because like in the example that they had done on the thing was like if you do a force click or you push hard on a word, it'll just show you like a dictionary, the definition of the word. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Grandma's just going to be like trying to highlight text or something. Is always going to be getting the dictionary definition of the word. So like I don't know how it works. I like Apple. They generally do a very good job with their products. Maybe it works fine, but it's just kind of weird. You can also the thing with the trackpad is all software based, so you can actually adjust yourself how hard you have to hit it for it to recognize the difference. It's pretty neat. They show a bunch of different examples for things you can do with it, which is kind of neat. They also say it's the first fanless MacBook. I don't know how that's going to work out, and they put like a crap load of batteries in it. And I don't know if they ever actually talk about battery life, which is weird, but they just packed batteries like all throughout the thing. Like some of the older MacBooks, like there's like the battery, like every little nook and cranny they had in the casing, even because like it doesn't come out straight, like it comes out like contoured or whatever.
Rounded edges.
Yeah, well, convex. They made layered batteries so they could do convex batteries inside. So like they're really dedicated to doing that. Does it say how long it'll do? Yeah, it just says all-day battery life. Up to 9 hours of web browsing. Okay. So it's not like it's mind-boggling incredible, but that's pretty freaking good for a laptop. You can watch 10 hours of movies? Yeah. Anyway, then they kind of scared everybody. They scared me and Chaz, who was also watching. They're like, MacBook was designed for a wireless world, and wires are evil. Trust us. It's the truth. So they've designed a new, I don't know if they designed it, I don't know if it says here. I think they probably worked with some other people, but USB-C, which is a new type of USB port. and it looks weird. I'll put a picture up here so you guys can see what the heck it looks like. That's the only port. This is the only port. And it works kind of like Thunderbolt does in that it can supply power, data transfer, DisplayPort, HDMI, and VGA. So you'd have to have some like, different converters or whatever to actually make it work. But it's just the one thing. And they don't talk about it at all, but there was a part where they had flipped the thing around and there was a little circle. I assume that's a 3.5mm audio port. It has to be. Because with USB-C, like, how would you can't hook up your headset to that. So that's probably what that is. So the MacBook is kind of cool. It's also interesting that they're getting rid of the MacBook Air, but also that also makes a lot of sense because they put all this technology into the MacBook Air as a separate thing, but now it's probably cost effective for them to just produce that regularly, and they can bring it down to a price that makes sense for people, because I think this starts at $12.99, which is pretty good. So now they don't have to have MacBook Air anymore because this is the MacBook Air. They did give the MacBook Air an update just so it would, still be relevant. And also they updated the MacBook Pro, and they also gave the MacBook Pro the trackpad on this thing.
Good.
So it's got like some neat update. It starts at $12.99 and it's got some crap in it, blah, blah, blah. No one cares. All right. So past that, they start talking about the watch. And it's the most personal Apple device ever, blah, 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 blah. Apple Watch isn't just with you. It's on you. And all this other bull crap. Designed to do a wide range of people, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm just going to kind of give you my general thoughts on the watch. I think the watch is cool. I really do. I'm not a fan of first-gen hardware in the first place. Mal's interested in the watch, and I'm like, you can't have it because it's first-gen. If it was
I don't need to have it.
I know. And we wouldn't actually get it anyway, but I wouldn't even consider it because it's the first generation of something. Because I know when the second generation comes out, they'll be like, oh, here's all the stuff that we learned from having, data come in from all these people that have used it for, a year, and now we can make a much better product. It comes in three...
This one toast.
You just wait. It'll come with a laser. You just point it at bread.
And it toasts it.
We think that's funny, but it probably will happen. There's 3 different categories of watch. There's the Apple Watch Sport, and then the Apple Watch, and then the Apple Watch Edition. The Sport's the cheapest one. Starts at $349. It's got an aluminum casing.
I love how he says that.
Yeah, Joni Ive does the little video thing. Aluminum. There's an aluminum casing. I just said it. I just said it like that's how I say it. Aluminum. It doesn't even make sense. It actually doesn't even make sense to pronounce it aluminium. Like, I understand there's different ways to pronounce words, but aluminium suggests that there's an additional letter in that word that there's not. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so there's an aluminum case, $350, which seems pretty decent for a starting price.
And it comes in 2 sizes.
Yeah, it's $350 for the 38mm and $400 for the 42mm. So, if you're like me and you have small wrists, then you get the smaller one, and if you're a bigger person, then you might want the one with bigger screen. But yeah, it's aluminum, and I think all of the bands for it are like silicone or something.
Yeah, they are.
And then there's the Apple Watch, which is kind of like the normal watch, and it comes with a wide variety of bands. They start at $549, go up to $1099.
Based on size and what type of band.
And they aren't made of aluminum; they're made of stainless steel. And I don't know. There's little videos in the keynote. If you guys get a chance to watch the keynote, it's about 90 minutes. There's little videos of them talking about how they made a new alloy specifically for this aluminum and this stainless steel for the Apple Watch. They're like, people worked on it just for the watch, which is weird, but it's also Apple, and they have buckets of money to just throw at whatever they want to do. So I'm not actually that surprised. And then finally, yeah, it's funny because Tim Cook was on stage. He's like, Apple, let's look at the Apple Watch Sports. And then they show the thing, and then he comes back on stage. He's like, $349, blah, blah, blah. Let's look at the Apple Watch. And then they show the stainless steel video. Comes back, and he's like, $549. And then he's like, and then the Apple Watch Edition is 18 karat gold, and it starts at $10,000. And then, there's no video for that. He's like, let's move on. But yeah, it comes in the third one, which is the Apple Watch Edition, 18 karat gold, and it starts at $10,000. In fact, there was an article in Forbes the other day that one of them that is being made is encrusted with diamonds around it and is $75,000. This is a really interesting tech product because the lower end is $350 and the higher end is $75,000. The software is the same. The person that gets the $350 one is running the exact same crap as the person with the $75,000 one. but the person with the $75,000 one doesn't know where to put their money. That was my joke, followed by a cough. Otherwise, to talk about the watch, I mean, it was neat. It was neat, and the watch is cool, and
it just felt sort of like what they said last time we talked about the watch.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same stuff. Battery life all day. You can pay with it.
You can get into your hotel room with it.
Yeah, if you go to a hotel room that has been, up to date on all this crap. Here's my takeaway from all this, because there's really nothing more to talk about with it. My takeaway from the Apple Watch is the Apple Watch is designed for exercise people.
Yeah.
Health people. That, honestly, just looking at it straight up, I'm not the target audience. I think it's a quality product. I think it'll be really cool, but it'll be really cool for someone who's going to get something out of it. And I think that the person that's going to get the most out of it is someone who is a jogger or a marathon person or a bike person or a fitness person, someone who goes to the gym all the time. That's the target audience for this product. And they desperately don't want it to be that. They desperately want to separate it and say, now this is for this, but whatever. But, honestly, that's who it's for. And, would it be cool to own one? Yeah, but would it be justify the $350 price? No. Not even a little bit, unfortunately. Obviously, they have the Apple Watch Sport, so they're trying to push it for, sport anyway. And then after that, they have, the business person thing. And they showed examples of how it could be useful for them. You can have your little code on your watch, so whenever it's time to go through security or whatever, you just, do your thing, and you can get on the plane. That's all neat, but it's, from an outsider's point of view, for someone who is looking at this objectively, it's for someone who is into exercise and health, and someone who's going to ride their bike a lot. And if you're one of those people, this probably looks really sweet, because it is. But for someone who sits 14 hours a day, the most I get out of it is the little features. It's like, hey, stand up.
You should move around.
Yeah, you haven't stood up in an hour, So that's my takeaway from it. It's for sports people, and it's for businessmen. Businessmen who do not think twice about buying a $600 watch. Or people, half the people in the audience who were like, yeah, $10,000 watch, I can afford that easy. So that's my takeaway. Maybe in the coming years, whenever they have new additions, it will make more sense for someone who sits in the chair 14 hours a day to buy it. But right now, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
It's cool. There were some features I thought were really nifty. I like the idea of just being able to say, hey, Siri, and talk to your watch. You could be driving, you just think of something. It'd be like, hey, Siri, send me a message, say, I'm going to pick up milk. That kind of thing, it's neat. But, it's not worth the $350 entry fee. If you were going to actually, use it for exercise and all that stuff, I could see it legitimately being worth it. I think Thomas would like it. Although, it has to have at least an iPhone 5, and Thomas is an iPhone 4. So he'd have to get a new phone first. Anyway, that's my thought on the Apple Watch conference, and I hope you liked it. Most exciting thing for me was the MacBook. I had my fingers crossed for a Mac Pro update, because the Mac Pro has not had any update since it launched in December 2013, but...
Or an Apple TV update.
Yeah. But, in a few more months, they'll have another conference, and we'll see what happens then. Until then, Apple Watch launches April 24th. It'll be interesting to see how quickly it gets adopted into,
common culture.
Yeah, how often, because at the beginning, when people had iPhones, it's oh my God, that's an iPhone, in 2007. And I wonder how long it'll be before people see an Apple Watch and they don't care. Now if you see an iPhone, who cares? Everyone has an iPhone. But in the beginning, it's going to be oh my God, you have an Apple Watch? Wow, what do you think of it? So I wonder how many years it'll take before everyone's yeah, I got my Apple Watch or my Samsung Watch or my Amazon Fire Watch. They might try to do it too. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm sick and I don't feel well. I'm going to bed. Let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?
Oh, I almost didn't make it. No, I didn't make it that time.
Where am I going? Where am I going? Okay. Sorry to leave you behind.
It's okay, I'm right here.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
It's getting tricky.